Welcome to Parlay TV.
Plenty of things look easy at first. Skydiving, lion taming. From the comfort of your armchair, all sorts of risks look easy as
Cristiano Ronaldo, Diogo Jota, and Bruno Fernandes literally
blew Russia off the park in a clinical display of attacking football.
Wow.
Sorry, what did you say, Kobe?
Wow, bro.
Let's break it down.
I am Pat Mayo, and I'm here to give you the best pick at the top of the board, the best bet, if you will.
So I'm going to go with just under 25 for Middleton here.
Welcome back, everybody, to Spreadzies. I'm your host, Luca, alongside my co-host, Jelani, and we are now entering NFL Week 17. Yes, just 2 more weeks left of this great NFL season as the playoff picture is heating up. We're going to make our picks, as always, against the spread, as my record right now is 110 and 100 overall, while Jelani, he's looking to run away with this thing going into the last week. He's been on a tear. Jelani, I don't know how you're doing it, man, but right now I got to hope you have an off week or else I'm done.
Yeah, no, I had another good week, 10-6 overall. I'll take it. There were a few that I wasn't too happy about, but overall now 116 and 91. So yes, I'm running away with this thing. Let's hope that this week I get another double digit, against the spread victory. But yeah, as we look at, the games that we saw this past week, we saw one in Houston that just shocked everybody. We both had the Chargers, covering or at least destroying them, but didn't work. I don't know what happened in terms of, their offense, their turnovers, and things of that nature. And then when you're looking at Washington, we also thought that Washington would come up big in Dallas divisional matchup and, probably bother Dak Prescott in that offense, who wasn't looking, that great coming into Sunday night. But ultimately, that just was a thrashing. So, yeah, those 2 games, when I'm looking at the Chargers dropping a huge one to Houston and Washington dropping, a big one against their division rivals, those 2 games just didn't go our way. But we'll see how we do this week.
Yeah, it's going to be another interesting week, and we're going to begin here with a very big game with playoff implications on the line. The Miami Dolphins taking on the Tennessee Titans, the Dolphins' first team in NFL history to have a 7-game losing streak and then a 7-game winning streak in the same season. It's pretty simple for the Dolphins. If they win out, they are into the playoffs. So do they get it done here against the Titans?
I think they do. I'm taking Miami here. I liked what I saw from them last night against New Orleans. They got to the quarterback. Ian Book had a tough debut. Obviously, when you are sacked 8 times, hit 14 times, a lot of things went well for Miami. I love their defense as of late. And in this run, their defense has been one of the better defenses in the National Football League. They know how to bother quarterbacks, try to get them off script, and make them scramble, get them out of the pocket. We'll see a lot of this against Tennessee, trying to bother their former quarterback, Ryan Tannehill. They're versatile up front and secondary-wise. They have great players. You have Xavier Howard, Holland is good, Rowe. So all these names, really nice, and they lead the league in terms of sacks from their secondary unit. So watch for that. But yeah, Jalen Waddle, a guy on, the offense that I'm really looking at. He's a great player, one of the better rookies that we've seen in a while. He's on pace to break Anquan Bolden's receptions record for rookies. So we'll see how that works out. Tua and that offense, they did have a slow day against New Orleans, given, granted that New Orleans is a good defense, but we'll see them probably make more things work out this game against Tennessee. But ultimately, it's just the team who makes, less mistakes. I'm really looking at Tua and saying, look, you have a good defense. Everything's working out for you. You just don't have to, just don't turn the ball over. And if you don't turn the ball over, then, it looks really good for Miami. So, yeah, I'm taking the Dolphins this week. And, they could get a playoff spot if it continues.
Yeah, that is going to be the key. Can Tua limit his turnovers? I like that he was a little bit more aggressive than usual against the Saints. That obviously did burn him for that interception that he threw. But in this game, I think Miami is going to go back to the basics of just trying to control the clock, Tua making the short throws, not making that pivotal mistake, and letting their defense really shine and try to win this game or at least keep this game close for the Dolphins. I expect that type of game in this one. I think this will be a field goal type game. And Miami, they got all the momentum right now. They're on a 7-game winning streak. They're playing really well. I know they haven't beaten the best opponents a part of this win streak, but hey, they control their own destiny. That's got to be motivating for them. Tua and company, you win both these games, you're in the playoffs, you make history after starting the season 1-7 to be a playoff team. That's never been done before. That's unheard of. So Miami, they cannot overlook the Titans here, but this is a very winnable game for them. I think the defense will shine, and they will make their former quarterback in Tannehill's life misery out there. So I do like the Dolphins plus the points in the spot.
All right, we agree there. And let's see if we agree with this one. Buffalo, they are playing host to the Atlanta Falcons, who are still alive in the NFC playoff picture. So does Atlanta shock everybody here?
I'm surprised the spread is this high. I know the Bills are coming off a couple of nice wins. They blew out Carolina, then they beat New England. But this Falcons team, you just named it. They have a lot to play for in this game. They are not dead in the water just yet. And this is a team that I do think their offense can hang with a Bills team that has given up a ton of yards in the past. And the Falcons, this is a team that keeps games close on the road. They're 5-3 against the spread on the road this season. And I think they can go into Buffalo and make things interesting. Matt Ryan and that offense, I know at times it can be pretty stagnant, but when they go up against a team like Buffalo that can air the ball out, if this becomes a shootout, I do trust the Falcons to be able to put up points and keep this game within reason. So I don't think the Falcons are necessarily going to upset and beat the Bills here, but they do have a lot of motivation to try to win this game with their playoff hopes hanging in the balance. So I do like the Falcons plus 14.5. I think it's way too many points for such a big game for them.
I have to agree with you there. I got the Falcons this week. I'm looking at the Bills. They are one of the better teams in the AFC. However, there are certain times when they do look off or don't look, like the best team in the AFC. So we'll see how they look this week against, a lesser opponent in Atlanta. But given the fact that Atlanta's offense is on the other side of the field, I think that they could put points on the board. You mentioned it with what they could do with Matt Ryan in that offense. Certain times they could, get drives down the field, make sure to get points on the board, get in the red zone. So we'll watch out for that. And Buffalo, you also said it. Atlanta is 5-3, on the road against the spread. Well, look at Buffalo. They're 4-3 at home. So they aren't the best. They're around 500 at home. So we'll see what happens this week. I do think they're going to win this game. I think they're obviously the better team, but 14.5, 2 touchdowns is just too much for me, to really put in all my chips towards the Bills this week. And also we've seen this league, there's just so much uncertainty this season. We saw what happened to the Bills against Jacksonville, right? That was a team that we thought was going to get destroyed. Didn't happen. They lost that game 6-9. So we'll see what happens this week. I think the Falcons come up and understand their season hanging by a thread. They need to get a win here. They're probably going to have a nice day, but yeah, ultimately the Bills win. But I think that you have to take the Atlanta Falcons here to cover. It's just too many points.
Okay, and then another big spread. We got the Jags, who look like a downright mess right now. They're taking on the Patriots, who they were on that massive win streak. Then they lost 2 in a row, and now they are 15.5-point favorites at home, which is a pretty much a must-win game for them. The Patriots still trying to clinch a playoff spot.
You see, I just took, the underdog in the last one. This one, I'm not. I understand this is even more points, but let's face it, it's Jacksonville. They are just in shambles right now. They just lost their best weapon, James Robinson, to an Achilles. So what are they really going to do right now, right? Trevor Lawrence and company, they almost got one in New York, but they ultimately lost. Again, they're on a 7-game losing streak. Things just aren't looking good. So I got New England here. They have just scored only 52 points in their last 3 games. So we'll see if they could finally, get back on track after losing to Indy and Buffalo. This is a get-right game for Mac Jones. I think, before the playoffs, we're going to have to see if Mac Jones can look better than he has recently. But yeah, Jacksonville just doesn't have enough this week to overcome what the Patriots have offensively and defensively. So give me New England.
Yeah, this is a get-it-right game for the Patriots. I honestly see them shutting them out. I was ready to say a shootout, but that's not the right word. They're going to shut them out. This is going to be an absolute one-sided affair. I don't see the Jags scoring any points in this game. It's going to be that type of day for them. I mean, you just named it. They lost their best offensive weapon. And Trevor Lawrence, remember, he's a rookie quarterback. He's going up against Bill Belichick, who historically owns rookies. So I don't see the Jags having any type of success in this game. And this is such a big game for the Patriots. They got to come out guns a-blazing. And yeah, Mac Jones, I mean, he has looked a little bit off his game in the last 2 losses. This is the perfect game for him to rebuild his confidence, throw a couple touchdown passes, get the run game involved, and that defense to create multiple turnovers and, lead to points. So I think this is going to be a very big margin of victory for the Patriots. And like I said, that's my prediction. I don't see them surrendering any points in this game. So I do like the Pats minus 15.5. Even if they score, 17 or even 20 points, I think that's enough to cover the spread here.
All right, so he thinks that the Jags won't even get on the board. Let's see what happens with that this week. But now let's move to the Raiders and the Colts. This is a big game, AFC-wise. We're talking about the Raiders looking to get in the playoffs, and the Colts are there, but no Carson Wentz probably this week with COVID. So who's your pick?
Yeah, who's not vaccinated. So it's going to be a much longer period of time that he has to stay away from the field. So that's going to be a big loss for this Colts team. I think the spread is even going to shrink as we get closer to kickoff once it becomes official that he's ruled out. So I got to go with the points here. The Raiders, they got a lot to play for. This is a team coming off a nice win against the Denver Broncos. And I just get this feeling that Derek Carr and that team, they are building confidence. I've seen Derek Carr in some of these post-game interviews. He just seems like such a laser-focused quarterback right now. And I really think this Raiders team could sneak into the playoffs, and they're going to go into Indianapolis knowing the circumstance of this game that, Indy, they're just going to feed the ball to Jonathan Taylor. Now, it's going to be hard to stop him, but it's going to be very reminiscent of that game between, the Bills and the Patriots when they knew, the Bills, that the Patriots are going to run the football. So the Raiders know the Colts are going to run the football. Do not make the same mistake the Bills made. Just stack the box, try to stop the run, because if you can somewhat contain Jonathan Taylor, because you're not going to shut him down completely, but if you can contain him, you force the Colts to become a passing team, and they don't have their starting quarterback right now. The Raiders do. So that's not a game the Colts want to play, because if this becomes that type of game, I trust Derek Carr, who has put together a pretty solid campaign through the air to be able to put points on the board. And we've seen with this Colts team, right? They are so dangerous when they get out to that early lead. But it's going to be interesting to see if they trail in this one, they can't rely on the run as much. How will that affect them when they're forced to throw the football? I think it might be a disastrous day for the Colts, and this just might be a fortunate spot with the Raiders, given the news of Carson Wentz not being able to play. So I do like the Raiders in this game, +5, and I wouldn't be surprised if they pull off the upset and win.
Yeah, I got the Raiders this week. I actually had them, once we heard the news of Wentz, right? I think if Wentz was out there, the consensus pick would be the Indianapolis Colts. They're looking really good right now, but not having him out there, also, Quentin Nelson, Darius Leonard, there are some huge names for the Colts that won't be playing due to COVID-19. So it's uncertain right now for the Colts how they're going to be looking, right? And we'll see how they look in terms of quarterback. But yeah, I like Derek Carr right now. You mentioned it. They're playing some good football. They are off some weeks and sometimes they're on, right? They're a pretty inconsistent team, but at this time, I do like what I'm seeing from the Raiders. They just believe in themselves. They found ways to win certain ugly games, and this might be another one, right? Especially given that quarterback situation on the other side of the field. So yes, the quarterback situation does change this game. We will see Jonathan Taylor run the ball a lot, but the Raiders, I know it's a tough task, but if you can limit him to under 100 yards, you're probably going to have a better chance, because when Jonathan Taylor rushes for over 100 yards, this team is unbeatable. So that has to be the focus this week. The Raiders cannot allow the run game to destroy them this week. I think the Raiders, they get this one here. They get it done because of what has happened with Carson Wentz, because that just shifted the whole complexion of this game. So give me the Raiders.
Okay, and now we're going to move on to the Buccaneers taking on the Jets. The Bucs, they are big favorites on the road, -13. Who do you like in the spot?
Give me the 13 for the Bucs this week, because the Jets, I know they're coming off of a nice win over Jacksonville. We saw Some nice plays from Zach Wilson, including that 52-yard run. But this week, this is a different beast. This is Tampa Bay, defending Super Bowl champions. They have a winning record against the spread this year. They're a good team, a team to watch, obviously, as we move closer to playoff time. One thing is Mike Evans, COVID as well. He's on the protocol. We'll see if he could clear, the protocols by Sunday to play against the Jets. There is, a chance that he could be out there. But even without him, we'll see Antonio Brown. We saw what he did against Carolina. He was just doing everything left and right. Tom Brady relying on him a lot. And Tampa Bay, they're probably in a position to score more than 30 points in this game. And when they do that, they're 8-1 against the spread and 9-0 overall. So I don't think the Jets have enough here. Give me Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I agree. And the Buccaneers still have a lot to play for, right? They can still get the number 1 seed. So it's not like they're going to be lax here. They're going to want to go out and win this game. And they're going to want to take care of business early, maybe even rest Brady in the second half if needed. This Bucs team, they showed without all those weapons, they were still able to put up a number against Carolina on the road. And the Jets, they're not good. They're thinking about the NFL draft right now. Yeah, they had a nice win against the Jags, but the Jags stink. The Jets stink too. They're not going to keep this game close at all. So it's a big number, especially on the road, but I'll lay it comfortably knowing that the Buccaneers are the team I'm going with here. So yeah, I think it's going to be a long day for the Jets. And remember, Brady's used to being up on the Jets for all those years he was in the AFC East. So I think it's going to be another one of those days and games for the Jets when they go out up against the GOAT, Tom Brady. So give me the Bucs here, -13.
All right, and now let's move to another game this week. Interesting one. We have the Rams and the Ravens. Right now, the Rams favored 3.5. Do you agree, or are you taking your Ravens this week?
I'm taking my Ravens this week, Jelani. It's do or die for them. If they lose this game, they're probably out of the playoffs. They need to show up here. Lamar Jackson expected to be back, so that'll be huge. And the Ravens, they're at home. This is a team that over their last 10 games, they are 7-3 against the spread at home. So I do like that I'm getting the hook here, 3.5. Even if the Rams do win this game, but it's only a field goal, I still win. So I'll take the Ravens at home, knowing that they have to show up. I know their defense has been very bad, and they haven't even, had a regular quarterback in a couple weeks, rolling out their backups that have not fared well for them. But remember, last time the Ravens were at home, they took on the Packers. And I know Huntley played in that game, but they almost won that game if they converted the 2-point conversion. So I do think Lamar Jackson having all this time off, he will be well rested. He's going to be tough to contain, especially he'll be looking to run. That's for sure. I mean, he hasn't been on the football field in a couple of weeks, so he'll be eager to get out there and run and play. So I do think this is going to be a back and forth game, and the Ravens are going to put forth their best performance, knowing that their season could be on the line here. So I do like the Ravens at home against the Rams, and I'll take the 3.5.
I'm going with the Rams this week. I'm just looking at the Ravens quarterback situation. Hasn't really looked that great as of late. We'll see if Lamar does play. But this week, I'm looking at the Rams and this offense that's just, doing things the right way right now. And we're looking at Cooper Kupp. I love Cooper Kupp, one of my favorite players in the NFL. He's closing in on 2,000 yards receiving. He's within reach. So, this is a historical season for him. Obviously, Jefferson and OBJ, Higbee, so many weapons on the outside for Matt Stafford. And this is a team in Baltimore that gives up a lot in the air, right? They've given up over 3,700 yards in the air, ranking them 31st in the league right now against the pass. So this is a spot where Matthew Stafford needs to utilize his arm talent and, really make the Ravens get exposed this week. We saw that he did struggle against Minnesota, right? He had 3 interceptions, a bit of them were poor, right? Poor decisions during Sunday's game against Minnesota. This week, he has to come up big, right? Because if they drop this one, then you're saying, wow, you dropped one against a Ravens team that's really beat up right now. 6 of 9 players on the Ravens secondary are injured right now. So there's no excuse this week. I see the Rams just coming in here and, showcasing the contrast right now. The Rams coming off of a 4-game winning streak, and the Ravens right now currently riding a 4-game losing streak. we'll see what happens. But this week, give me the Rams.
Okay, we disagree there. I think that's the first game we disagreed on so far. Next game, we got the Eagles taking on the football team, and the Eagles right now, they're in a playoff spot while the football team, they got obliterated on Sunday Night Football. I mean, I don't know what that was, but yeah, who do you got here?
Yeah, I got Philly. Washington, they're just not looking good right now. I don't know where it went all wrong, probably because injuries and then COVID just hit this team so bad. So I feel bad for them in that area and that aspect because Philadelphia, they continue to make some noise and they're making a lot of noise late. And they are a team to watch in the NFC, right? I get it. They're the Eagles, Jalen Hurts, young quarterback, but they can make some noise, okay? And why are they playing good football right now? It's because of their running game. Their running game is really leading the charge, right? They're one of the best, if not the best, in terms of rushing per game right now in the NFL, this team as a whole. One thing is, though, no Miles Sanders. He got hurt. His hand, injury is something to keep an eye on. But when I'm looking at the Eagles, 4-1-1 against the spread in their last 6 games, they're a positive. And on the other side, Washington 4-1 in their last 5 against the NFC East. They struggle against their divisional opponents for some reason. I don't know what it is, but they just can't beat these guys. 3 losses in a row against their rivals. I think the Eagles will control this game. Washington, as they deal with injury and guys still working themselves back from COVID, they will continue to struggle. And ultimately, the Eagles will ultimately try to get themselves in that playoff spot. They're currently 7th right now, and they would play the Cowboys if the playoffs started today.
Wow, that's crazy. That would be a must-see playoff television if that's how it stands once the season's over. Yeah, I like the Eagles here. I think they're going to win this game pretty easily. Talk about Washington's struggles against the spread, taking on, the NFC East. They haven't been really good at home either. 2-5 against the spread in their last 7. So the Eagles, they got so much more to play for here. And Washington's such a unpredictable team, right? They start off the season playing poorly, then they go on a run. You start thinking to yourself, okay, is this team back? And then they completely fall off the cliff. They are the definition of mediocre. And that team's going to have to answer to a lot of questions this offseason. I know COVID really hurt them and injuries, but this was a team that was expected to take that next step this season with Heineke. And obviously they disappointed, and they are not going to be in the playoffs. The Eagles, I think they will win this game despite Sanders not being there and Hurts. I mean, the legend grows for him. He continues to play good enough out there to lead the Eagles to victory. And I don't know about you, Jelani, but I am hoping we do get an Eagles-Cowboys first-round playoff matchup. That would be awesome. So Eagles, I think they win this game and keep that narrative alive.
I'm looking forward to that. I would want to see that as well. I hate them. So I think I'd love to see the Cowboys beat them in the first round. But let's move now to 2 teams that won't be in the playoffs. We have the Giants and we have the Bears. Right now, the Bears are favored 6.
Yeah, it seems pretty high, right, for a Chicago team that hasn't really done anything. But I just can't put any trust in the Giants. They're 0-4 against the spread in their last 4 road games. This is a team, they've shut it down for the year. You can tell they're just losing these games to better their draft positioning, and they do not look competitive at all. While the Bears, coming off a really nice win on the road against Seattle, Nick Foles, greatest backup quarterback of all time. We'll see who plays here at quarterback. But if it is Nick Foles, I like the Bears even more. I mean, this is a guy that you just put him in every different situation from off the bench, and he's so good. But then it's weird, as a starter, he's not as good. That is the legend of Nick Foles, folks. But I do think the Bears, they will, win this game comfortably, even if it is Fields. And I do think the Bears are going to win this game comfortably. The Giants, they stink right now, and I don't see them putting up enough points against a Bears defense that has looked pretty good. Even going back to that Monday Night Football loss against the Vikings. I thought the Vikings should have won that game by even more, but that defense did a lot of good things to keep that game in check. So the key is, are the Bears going to be aggressive in this game, throwing the ball down the field? If they are, and Nagy lets them loose a little bit, which I like when he does, then the Bears will cover the spread. So I like the Bears here.
Yeah, I'll make this one quick. Chicago is my pick. The New York Giants, they just don't have a quarterback right now. And when you don't have a quarterback, you can't do anything, right? You had Jake Fromm, 25 yards, 6 for 17, 4.9 quarterback rating. Okay. And then he was benched in the third quarter for Mike Glennon. Mike came on the field, 93 yards, 17 for 27, 26.7 QB rating. So when you're looking at those QBRs and what they brought to the table, there's just not enough for New York right now. They don't have any weapons, right? Guys like Shepard are hurt. And Saquon, he's just looking like a shell of himself right now. I don't know what the issue is there, but he's not playing good football right now. The Giants just don't have enough offensively, especially against a Bears defense that does have certain games where they've shut teams down, right? And I think when you're looking at offensively, the Bears, they just have more. You mentioned, the quarterback play of Nick Foles. We'll see if he has to start this week. But yeah, the Bears are my pick here. The Giants do have a better record against the spread. Could you believe that? But they're all over the place right now. So yeah, give me the Bears.
All right, next game. We got a very big one. This is probably one of the games of the week, in my opinion. Chiefs taking on the Bengals. Maybe a potential playoff preview here, but you got two teams that have to be feeling good about themselves going head to head.
This week, I got the Chiefs. I am a guy that always picks the Chiefs, it seems. I only went against them like a few times, but it's because they're playing great football right now, winners of 8 in a row. But don't look now, but the Bengals are winners of 4 of their last 6. So, yes, this is a huge game. The Bengals could, surely lock up the AFC North if they could get one in week 18, and then some help along the way. But yeah, I just look at the Chiefs right now. They've covered 6 straight games. They're rolling right now. Defensively, that's what's really separating them right now from the other teams in the AFC, I find, because yes, you have Patrick Mahomes on the offense, but this defense has just shut teams down. They're not letting people do anything really. So this week, I think they're going to bother Joe Burrow through their pass rush. I do think that Burrow has a chance, given his O-line, can keep him, untouched. I think that he has a chance to pick apart the secondary because KC's secondary has been a bit inconsistent at times during the season, but the Bengals, they just need to limit the turnovers, right? That's how they're going to win this game or at least cover. If they don't, then especially against a team who has Patrick Mahomes and that offense who finally got their groove back, it's not going to be good for them if they turn the ball over. So Joe has to play like he did against Baltimore. But another thing is the Bengals are young, right? They're a young team, haven't been in this spot before against, the class of the AFC. This is a measuring stick game for them. I just don't think they have enough to deal with what KC has right now. KC firing on all cylinders. They look like the best team right now outright in the AFC. So give me the Chiefs.
Yeah, it's crazy how the Chiefs are now being deemed Super Bowl favorites or, at least a Super Bowl contender, given the fact that they started the season as poorly as they did. I like the Chiefs here too, Jelani. I don't think it's going to be a blowout because, like you said, I do expect Joe Burrow to be able to put points on the board, move the ball down the field, and try to take advantage of some of the weak holes in that Chiefs defense. But overall, this Chiefs team, how can you bet against them right now? Completely different team out there. The offense clicking, the defense playing so well. And this is going to be a fantastic game. I agree with what you said. It is going to be a measuring stick game for the Bengals. This is a young team that I think is going to be a team to look out for many seasons to come because of Joe Burrow, throwing the football. But I think this is going to be a learning lesson for the Bengals that they're good, but they still do have a long way to go until they are Kansas City Chiefs of, the AFC and a team that can realistically compete for a Super Bowl. So this is going to be a very good learning experience for all of those Bengals players. It's a good young team. I expect them to win this division regardless. And give me the Chiefs to win at least by 7. I think this game could be interesting in the fourth quarter, but Patrick Mahomes will put up the game-winning touchdown. So I do like the Chiefs here minus 5.5.
All right. And another big one in the AFC, we have an AFC West battle between the Broncos and the Chargers. Chargers currently favored right now, but do you think the Broncos can cover?
Yeah, I'm going to go the other way here with the 5.5. I'm going to take the points. The Chargers 2-5 in their last 7 games against the spread. This is a team that I just can't trust. And it's frustrating because just when you think this Chargers team is ready to take that next step and go on a run, they lose a game like they did against the Texans. And I know they were missing a ton of guys due to COVID, and they're probably going to get a lot of those players back this week. But this is still a team that is the definition of inconsistent play. I mean, one week they look good, next couple of weeks they don't, and they get back on track. I think this is going to be a divisional game that is going to be close. The Denver Broncos, if it is Drew Lock again, he did what he needed to do. They did keep that game close against the Raiders, so I could see a similar thing here. I do think the Chargers pull away with the victory, but I'm going to take the 5.5. I think it's going to be by 4 or 3 points. It's the defense for the Broncos. We saw how much they contained Herbert and that offense when they were playing a mile high. I know this game's going to be in LA, but Denver's defense, they know how to get it done against, the Chargers, and they have in the last couple of meetings. So I do like the Broncos here to keep this game close because the Broncos have a lot to play for too. They're still playing for their playoff lives. So all in all, it's going to be a very big game. So I will take the points knowing that.
I'm going to go with the Chargers. You mentioned it. They are a team that goes, very inconsistent every season, it seems, right? They have a week where they look really good and a week where they look really bad. So they just came off of a game where they looked really bad. So I think this week they're going to look really good against their division rivals. So give me the Chargers this week. I'm looking at Denver's situation at quarterback. We could probably see Teddy Bridgewater. We'll see what his status is as we move forward in the week. But if he's not out there, we have Drew Lock, obviously. But they could have won that game in Vegas, but the offense just didn't have a flow at all, right? And I think this week the Chargers are extremely heated after what they just put forth against the Houston Texans. They should have won that game. Honestly, if they don't make the playoffs, that's the game that they're going to be looking at for the rest of the offseason because I don't know what happened there. So I think they're going to come back right here. They get guys back from COVID. There are still certain guys that will be out, like Mike Williams offensively, but I think that LA, they're the safe pick here. I'm just not sure what the Broncos could do offensively with Drew Lock, in this one. And obviously the Broncos did beat them, right? They beat the Chargers early in the year, but LA looking for revenge. So I think that revenge will be had this week. Give me LA.
Yeah, it's going to be a big game. The next one here, we got the Texans taking on the 49ers. It is now a 12.5-point spread. Given the news that we could see Trey Lance here at quarterback with Jimmy G possibly missing this one. So who do you have knowing that?
I think this is the first time this season I'm taking Houston. I don't believe I've taken Houston yet, but I think this week when you're looking at Jimmy Garoppolo, that thumb injury that he has, Trey Lance coming in to make his second start, the only other start he had week 5 against Arizona, 17-10 loss, right? He didn't play that bad, right? He almost had 200 yards passing. He had 192 on the day, but not having Jimmy G out there right now, very interesting to watch, especially as we look at the playoff picture. They need to win this game. San Fran does. So putting in a rookie when you need a game won here, it's going to be very intriguing to watch. But yeah, double-digit lines, always tricky, right? We're seeing, we already had a few today. But yeah, it's always tricky and dangerous at times. And we saw what happened on the weekend. Double digits, the Chargers were favored against Houston, and Houston covered that. So I think as San Francisco, they win this game, but Houston covers here because David Culley has this team playing hard. Every single week they play hard, right? I know they don't stack up talent-wise, but if they could force turnovers, right? Trey Lance, rookie, he's coming in, right? He's raw still, raw prospect. He hasn't really got that much play time. If they could commit turnovers, maybe they might be in a position to give Davis Mills more opportunities to get some points on the board without offense. So yeah, give me Houston here in a surprise pick. Right. All right, and now a huge game in the NFC. We have the Cardinals and the Cowboys playing this weekend. Everyone will be keying in on this one. Who's your take or who's your pick here? Sorry. I think that the Dallas Cowboys will win this